This home was purchased out of foreclosure, and it is basically in a really great neighborhood where the neighbors care a lot for their homes. They're in really great condition, and we're gonna take a look inside, take a peek inside, and see why I call this carpet and paint. And then we'll talk about what happens after you pay for the home on the courthouse steps. So again, this is basically carpet and paint. Carpet is kind of worn, and the paint is definitely, uh, pay for a home on the courthouse steps. So first of all, when you buy a home on the courthouse steps, you do not have the opportunity to go inside and view it. You're going to kind of drive through the neighborhood. And as I said, this neighborhood was in really great condition. So I did pretty good on that part. You don't see what's inside, and you don't get to know if it is occupied or not until you purchase it. You pay cash on the courthouse steps, and then after that, it usually takes about 60 days plus or minus to receive the deed. And in that time, it is up to you, the buyer, to again determine whether or not someone's in there and begin the process of helping them to move on if there is some occupancy inside the house. In most cases, the people that have lived in it, whether it's been the owner or a tenant, they've been made aware that they're going to have to go forward because of foreclosure. Sometimes, in this particular situation, there was a little reluctance to move forward. So you have to usually go through the process of evicting the occupant. Now, like I said, in most cases, the people who have been occupying the home usually go on. And if they don't, then when you make that first or second, third contact by knocking on the door and having a discussion with them, they will, okay, back it up and go on. Sometimes you can find someone who's having some difficulty moving on, and then you offer them what is known as cash for keys. And that is where you offer an agreed amount for the keys, and they can go on to whatever their next destination is, or a place of residence, however you want to call it. And that is an amount that you discuss and agree upon with that individual. Um, if you can't make contact with them, or if they're not willing to make that discussion, then you have to go to the courthouse steps, and not courthouse, but actually the court in the municipalities that you live or that you purchased in. And of course, every single house is a different situation. So even what I'm explaining is not exact science for every single house, because every transaction is different. Whether it's foreclosure, in every sort of real estate situation, every transaction is different. So you're going to go to the courts to have file for a dispossessory, and you do have to pay for that. Once you file the dispossessory, the marshal is going to come out and serve that on whoever is occupying the house. And for each occupant, there is a fee to have them served with the dispossessory. That is, again, when the marshal will come out and let them be aware that the house has been purchased and they need to move on. Now, the occupant has the opportunity to go before a judge and say what their reason or rationale for why they should be able to stay in the house, or why they need more time, or whatever. And if they don't, then you move forward to filing a writ of possession. And that too has a fee associated with it. And then there's another waiting game, because the municipality that the house is in may have a different wait for when the marshal is going to come out to help the person move along. And of course, this is the very last thing that you should want to have to do or have to go through. I know for me it is. I don't want to have someone to be escorted out under any circumstances. So I am in that 60-day window when the deed is being processed to come to me, trying to find the occupants, if there are any, to move them out, make sure that they're moved out. Now, once the marshal comes out, it's been a while. It's definitely been, um, we'll say, at least 60 days, because it takes at least 60 days to actually get your deed for the property, because the banks have to process things and whatever. But once you have the deed and the marshal comes out, then you're going to have a crew, depending on what county it is, to have the things removed. And of course, you have to pay for that, and you have to pay for anything that is left in the yard, the garden, or wherever it's left. Or again, all of this that I'm telling you is based on what uh, county it is. And in Georgia, there are 120 some odd counties, so the rules can be a little bit different wherever you are. And if you're looking at this from another state, then of course the rules may be different about how this part goes as well. But you may be scheduled for the eviction date, but again, you're going to have to um, have all of the things that your county requires to remove that person. The marshal has to be paid. The moving crew has to be paid as well. If there is a truck required to remove anything that is left, they have to be paid too. Now, all of that has already been done on this house, and I've also already spoken with all of my contractors so that we can begin the renovation